All right. Good evening. I have not done a forecast video in over a year. I think that needs to change. I'm sure my audio sounds different from when the last time I did this. I have a proper headset now and a proper setup. So, figured why not? Let's do it. Let's run it back. So, right now, it is, as you can see here on the top left of the screen, 6:32. Um 6:32 Saturday afternoon. We currently have a particularly dangerous severe thunderstorm watch that has been issued over South Dakota. We've already had a couple severe wind gusts or significant severe wind gusts kind of over by Pierre, South Dakota, well with wind damage, power poles bent over, and other reports. Currently have a severe storm ongoing, kind of over this region as well. I'll get a couple other things up here. Um, have a few severe storms ongoing. Just had an 80-mile-an-hour wind gust near Dupree, South Dakota. Actually, measured at them on a weather missing it. So we'll kind of take a look at these storms, and then I'll go through the forecast. But this is currently your current radar look. Um, certainly, some strong storms ongoing. Here are your velocities. You can see rather strong velocities with these storms out here toward Gettysburg, South Dakota, and Dupree in the west central part of the state. Shifting our focus over toward the storms in north central, we can see not as strong of velocity signatures with these yet. Looking from Sioux Falls radar, we can kind of see the same story. However, we kind of have a punch starting to develop here, as well as a little bit further to the north. But it seems like the storms in north central South Dakota are organizing a little bit better than the ones further south. There's a lot better of a cold pool with these, so we'll see what that does. Currently, for today, we have from the Storm Prediction Center, we have a brief tornado risk kind of over parts of South Dakota, Minnesota, Iowa. Actually, I think I could pull it up on here. Yeah, I can. So I don't even need to use that. We have a tornado risk kind of over um, South Dakota, Iowa, Minnesota, including Sioux Falls, South Dakota. Our wind risk is maximized. Put the warnings up as well if I can. Data. I don't know. I might not be able to. Our wind risk is currently maximized though over South Dakota, southwest Minnesota, and northwest Iowa, and extreme northern Nebraska. We're expecting this cluster of storms up here and the cluster of storms down here to both provide a wind risk over portions of the region and glide southeastward for this cluster. This cluster is probably going to move more east-northeast over the next few hours. See here. Oh yeah, probably should go out here. Tomorrow, oh, did not mean to do that. Kind of the same general outline. We have another day of a large severe risk over the upper Midwest, Mississippi Valley, the Great Lakes region, and parts of the plains in Minnesota, South Dakota, Nebraska, Iowa, Northwest Illinois, Wisconsin, Michigan. This risk will probably get pushed a lot and moved around a lot as well, and maybe upgraded with the newest outlook cycle. We will see. But a lot of changes will likely need to be made to this. There will be a significant wind risk tomorrow. Probably extending outside of this outlook area as well, over in this region as well. Could see some significant winds, and then also the potential for a tornado or two, and some large hail as well. Day 3, a rather broad area of severe weather appears likely from Michigan and Wisconsin all the way down southeastward into Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, Pennsylvania, perhaps West Virginia, Kentucky, and then a secondary zone out west as well, and maybe another area of severe potential over the southwest and over the southeast. Day 4, same story, more severe potential over the mid-Atlantic. Going into these setups here, a lot of these models we're going to be looking at, fair warning, are not evolving today's storms well at all, or the environment, so we're kind of going to be playing blind, but I'll give you some possible solutions that could occur. This is our high resolution rapid refresh model. Does not do great during the summertime. So right now, this would be the radar image valid around the time right now. If we go look on Weatherfront and pull up another tab and look at what the radar looks like right now, we are going to see that the radar looks a decent bit different. These storms up further to the northwest are more intense, and these ones down here aren't so much. And it's also going to kind of kill these storms off a little bit as well, which I'm not sure is going to happen. Like, I don't think this is going to die off so quickly in northwest Iowa, given the environment. But as we see with time, those storms kind of die off. We're also expecting another kind of cluster of storms to maybe develop over Minnesota overnight. I should have done this before jumping into the forecast overnight. Why don't we go over to our mesoscale analysis page and kind of show you some ingredients for severe thunderstorm potential right now that are ongoing. So over portions of the region, we have a lot of instability in place today. This is your most unstable layer once it loads. There's over 5,000 joules per kilogram of CAPE over a large region in South Dakota. As well as that, we have rich moisture. That's not the right one. Rich moisture over the region. One thing that we are lacking, though, at least for the storms that are developing in southern South Dakota, is a bit of a theta E gradient. And what that is as these contours are tighter, that means there's a gradient. And so these storms are going to have to kind of go southeastward for them to be in the gradient. So I'll have to see if they do that. Wind shear values are not horrible, but also not not the best, but still 40 to 40 knots will do the job for significant severe storms in this environment. Downdraft CAPE is very strong too, which will help enforce the severe wind potential. And then we have northwest flow aloft and a shortwave over the South Dakota region, which is helping to initiate these storms. Along with that, we have some 850 millibar flow enhancement. And at 700 millibars, we have a strong shortwave over the region. So that's kind of helping off. But this, we're going to go back to the 18Z run, which will definitely evolve these storms a little bit differently. However, it is picking up on them a bit better than the previous runs. It's just a little bit slower, but it's picking up on them a bit better. This run kind of has them moving into Iowa and staying alive overnight over Mason City, Iowa Falls, the Austin area. So we'll kind of see how that evolves. These storms then kind of start to fizzle out over northeast Iowa overnight, and then we kind of see them dive into Illinois, and they kind of fizzle off. And after that, we could see those storms kind of reform near St. Louis, like another model I'll show you soon has that, or we could see a different solution. But we'll likely see a couple areas of thunderstorms start to develop in the late afternoon hours, one over Nebraska, one potentially over southern Illinois, eastern Missouri, and then the most likely area I'll shade in blue will be somewhere in northern Minnesota and northern Wisconsin here. These storms that develop in this region will be in a very favorable environment for severe thunderstorms, and I'm going to talk about why now. Here is our instability values. Shut up, Siri. I don't know why, but my Siri started going off. But the storms that are going to be developing over northern Wisconsin and northern Minnesota tomorrow, they're going to be in some very strong instability values. You're going to have 2,000 to 4,000 joules per kilogram of CAPE, potentially more. We'll have to see. But as these glide southeastward, we do have kind of a boundary that's going to be set up here. And I'm going to go on the dew point map and show you that boundary, or maybe the theta E map if it has it. Here's the theta E map, a measure of moisture. We can see there's a boundary kind of set up and laid across the region, kind of like this. There's another one here that I'll shade kind of in green as well. So we kind of have a couple different boundaries set up across the region. These will kind of help with thunderstorm initiation, as thunderstorm clusters will move southeastward along these boundaries, helping to kind of illustrate the potential path. So really tomorrow I'm heavily watching kind of this area for severe storms in the evening and into Monday. Also watching Nebraska as well. We can see over further to the west we have a cold front over here, which is why the storms in Minnesota develop kind of in northern Minnesota here. and move kind of southeastward. Um, this is the one model's take I was talking about here. We can see these storms kind of develop, and they kind of start to go into a cluster toward 10 p.m. over the Wisconsin region, and that seems like a very plausible solution. Other storms to begin to develop along that kind of axis as well. We'll see if those happen further to the south, but that seems like a plausible solution. Overnight, we have a strong short wave that begins to develop over kind of the Wisconsin area. As you can see with these barbs pointing down this way, it helps propel this kind of line of storms that's developing over Minnesota, Wisconsin, southeastward along that boundary gradient. And so as that's happening, we also have strong low-level jet that starts to move northeastward and help propel these storms, as well as the aforementioned strong instability that these storms will be kind of moving southeastward along with. I don't expect the tornado threat to be very high with these storms. However, the wind threat will be pretty high given the fact that you have strong instability and strong wind shear to kind of help with these storms along with dry air toward the surface. As this cluster moves southward, it begins to die a little bit the day of. And then this is kind of what we look at Monday by 1 p.m. This is probably going to be very wrong, though. Here's another model's take on what is going to happen tomorrow. And I'll show you a couple more, and then I'll kind of head out here. So this is what the model has for right now. And this is honestly a decent depiction of what's happening. We have one storm cluster here, another to the north. Not doing a terrible job. As we go at time, we can see these clusters kind of move southeastward, gradually re-intensify, and this model has a stronger cluster over Iowa overnight. Now, why is that? Well, you have stronger instability on this model overnight in Iowa, which is very plausible. The shear values, however, are not super efficient for thunderstorm development over that region. Oh, I can't look at them. They're a lot weaker, so I wouldn't be shocked if this solution doesn't come to fruition, or if it does, it's not like the craziest thing ever. But we'll expect those storms to kind of push southeastward. This model kind of has them dying off in the afternoon hours on Sunday, and then we get that new round of storms to begin to develop in northern Minnesota, and Nebraska as well, and the Michigan area. And as these storms kind of begin to develop, we can see that same situation that I was talking about with that other model start to appear. This is 3 a.m. Time's always going to be in the left-hand corner there. We can see this instability gradient is starting to align. The MCS track is also starting to kind of provide itself. And you can see that storm cluster would generally go southward. Looking again at your theta E and wind, you can see we have a defined boundary kind of located in here to some extent. It's a little bit less defined on this model because of the morning storms, but we can kind of see that, and you can see that kind of line of cluster of storms glide along it and move southward into Wisconsin overnight. We have another kind of cluster that forms in Michigan as well. This is early Monday morning, and we can see that cluster's moving through the Chicago metro and into northern Indiana, and then it kind of glides southward and weakens. Another round of storms is expected to initiate along the cold front on Monday after this, but Monday's forecast is really up in the air at this point in time. Here's Monday's upper air look. We have a hit ridge of high pressure that is going to be generating these storm clusters along it. And so Monday we're generally going to be watching areas in here for severe storms. Very broad area, but not a lot of confidence right now. Probably most watching this general zone in here for severe potential, but we will see in the next few days how that evolves. But a cold front will be situated over, looks like the NAM has it kind of situated in this general-ish region here. And so thunderstorms will begin to develop along this cold front later in the afternoon and evening hours. We can see the NAM model forms thunderstorms with this in the late evening, and they move southeastward over time into Ohio, Indiana, and Illinois. The degree of instability behind the morning storms is going to be very uncertain, but the NAM redevelops a very wide corridor of strong instability values, as you can see with these purples indicating there's 4,000 plus joules per kilogram of CAPE or fuel. Same thing kind of in the mixed layer as well, lots of storm fuel. And if we take a look at atmospheric data or a sounding, this can kind of show you what the storms will be feeling. And I'll try to explain it as best as I can for you guys back at home. But here we go with this. Very strong moisture. As you can see, your dew point's 78 degrees and your temperature's 80 degrees. This is your wind profile plotted, your hodograph, and you can see there's a lot of wind shear with 48 knots in the 6 kilometer, which is in the mid levels. And you can see that hodograph kind of bends southeastward, telling you that there's a lot of wind shear with height and a lot of turning with height, which will be favorable for the potential for a couple tornadoes, as well as robust thunderstorm development in general. Your thermodynamics are rather strong too, with the red between the white dotted lines showcasing your instability. And so you have a lot of storm fuel for storms to get going in the evening as that wave moves eastward, or southeastward. That's going to do it for this video though. I might have another forecast out tomorrow. Don't count on it though. Yeah. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.